One of the things that has been driving me nuts when I go to the store is the self-checkout. I'm afraid of machines.
There's a certain number of people that will accept it and like it and prefer to use it.
Not everybody is an extrovert, right? Not everybody is wanting to be engaged on.
I think I'm on the opposite side of you guys.
It's funny how we look at these things from our different lenses.
We have to keep to that human element of it, right?
Hey guys, so Multifamily Manager Pro, Chris and Skylar here. One of the things that has been driving me nuts when I go to the store is the self-checkout. I get it, but I don't always like it. It made me think about kind of how technology is moving, how we're seeing it move in our industry. And I know that you guys have seen this before where it's these self-showing mechanisms, right? Whether we used to use lock boxes or whatnot, but now there's kind of these fancier ones that are coming onto the market. And I know we've been playing with some of them, but I don't know. I feel a little hands off of it because I'm afraid of machines. I think that's what it is. I watched The Terminator too many times as a kid. So I think this is where my brain is at. What do you guys think? I know, Fody, I made you do all the research. So how do you feel about what we're doing here?
I think it's definitely something that I think has been rolled out in recent years. And I think there's a certain number of people that will accept it and like it and prefer to use it. And then just like with any technology, there's going to be certain people that will kind of stay away from it and don't like it. So when it comes to showing appointment, I mean, obviously we all know how important a showing is to our sales process, right? It's our chance to, number one, like show the person around, but also get a feel for them and kind of, see how we can present the community in a way that touches on all the things that they're looking for. So the showing appointment is very important. And right now we have, several options. We can, show up at the property. They have these self-guided tours now that they have new technology that's been rolling out. Some of it now even includes like AI and stuff. So that's another crazy whole topic on its own, how that's being used in the industry. And then you have like virtual tours where people can check it out on their phone or their tablets and kind of walk through the community that way. But I think it's definitely an interesting thing. I don't think there's one right or wrong answer when it comes to are self-guided tours a good thing? I think it really depends. The answer is like, what are you selling? What is your community? What is the demographic, the target audience? Does it make sense to market it to them? And then I think there's kind of like a time and a place to use this type of thing. But I think as with any sort of technology or anything that you're doing with your sales efforts, it's important when you roll it out to kind of test it and measure and see how that compares to, what you were originally doing. So if you do set up self-guided tours, like measure that for a week and see how that compares to, having your leasing agents out there actually showing the community. But to get set up with the self-guided tours, we've experimented with a few different ones. I think in the past, it's pretty simple to do, right? You kind of get signed up online. They'll send you some technology. In some cases, there'll be ones that are a little bit more involved versus, they'll just kind of have a text number and they'll verify the person and let them in the door. Others there'll be like a whole sales journey, right? Where you can install these little devices throughout your community and they actually walk through the community with a phone in their hand. And there's like videos that'll pop up and information and really ways to kind of sell the community as they're walking through it using the self-guided showing technology. So again, I think there's a time and a place for it. Skylar, what do you think? Because you deal with showings.
I think it goes back to some of those day-to-day operations. Not everybody is an extrovert, right? Not everybody is wanting to be engaged on a level. Maybe they are somebody who would like to tour by themselves. So I mean, again, I see it as something as an additional tool in our arsenal belt. I can imagine anybody who is on the front lines has had those awkward showings of, hey, how's it going? You're getting one word answers. You're trying to do your pitch, things like that. But also in reverse too, I do feel that physically being there, just personally, you get a chance to meet them. They get a chance to meet you. They get a vibe for the property, how the property is going to be cared for, things of that nature. But also with those self-guided tours, they can make those assumptions on their own as well. To your point, Fody, I think there's a time and a place for it. And depending on what somebody's comfort level is, we can start to see more of this technology roll out. Not that I feel that it's ever going to replace salespeople, because let's face it, as far as to T's point, I'm not the biggest fan of checking out my own groceries. But furthermore, I can tell you already, anything robocall related, I think sets anybody's hair on fire, right? So I don't think you can completely eliminate the human element of it. And I do feel that that is a necessity in this industry because, again, it's a people industry. We're going to have people living in these communities. So we want to be able to have somebody that they can engage with. Again, too, time and a place for them. I think it's a great resource and a great tool, especially in, the heights of moving seasons and things of that nature. But yeah, that's my personal take on it.
So 37% of apartment communities are using self-guided tours today. So it has increased a little bit. I remember seeing it at 30 like a year ago. And obviously like this became very, very popular during COVID, right? A lot of things got shut down. A lot of people were working from home. They needed a way to still, check out housing and be able to rent an apartment. So obviously that increased a lot during COVID. You guys think that's going to keep increasing? Are you surprised that it's almost 40% of communities?
I think it's going to keep increasing. And I wonder, I know for us, over the years, we've tried different kinds of products. And some of those products, and this is, again, just how technology moves. We have to trial and error these things out. And I remember probably about 5 years ago, we were using a self-showing mechanism where, they had to scan their ID or do something like that. And they get a text and all this stuff. And we ended up with squatters in the property. And I don't know exactly how they bypassed it or if they got the key out. I don't recall exactly. I think they got the key out and maybe made a copy because it wasn't timed, right? We couldn't figure out exactly what time did they check out the key and what time it was returned or something like that. But somehow there was an opportunity. So I think maybe that was also one of my things where I was a little bit jaded because I'm like, I've seen this to where we couldn't safeguard the property. Now, the new one that we tried that had these self-showing beacons, it was almost like a museum tour, right? Like you go through and it actually guides you through the community and through the model and things. So that was pretty cool. And that actually has a timer on it. I think that once they put that code in, I think it's an hour or something like that is the only opportunity they have. And then they have to re-register it. So I see where technology has moved to where it's getting better when they're safeguarding the property better. I do think that it's going to continue because just like anything else, we're not going backwards in technology. We're not taking away these things. What I do like that we did, because some of the properties, depending on the type, don't call for on-site, right? And so it's convenient because maybe we can't get someone out there quickly enough. And we definitely don't want to lose an opportunity. I know Skylar's running around all over the place sometimes, and it just is what it is. You can't be at two places at once. So I like that we kind of took a hybrid approach. And I wonder if this number will increase because they'll also start doing the same. Instead of relying solely on the technology, taking this hybrid approach of we saw the lead come in, but we actually pick up the phone and call them, right? And say, hey, we have an agent available. You're more than welcome to do the self-tour. We're kind of giving options. So I like that approach better. I don't know. I'm a millennial. I still like people. So maybe that has something to do with it too, because I notice, and Skylar, please speak to the different demographic that we see. Because again, as a millennial, I still want to kind of be able to talk to somebody. But I don't see it going away or that number going down.
Exactly. And I do feel that we have to keep to that human element of it, right? I do feel that this hybrid does work great because again, too, we want to provide people with the utmost service and care that we can from start to finish. We want to treat these leads and these showings as somebody as prospective residents, right? This is our chance to shine. They get an impression of the property, things of that nature. But also, yes, me personally, also as a millennial, I prefer the engagement. I prefer to meet face to face with somebody to have that interaction. I'm not seeing it too much as a generational thing, so much as somebody who is more geared towards, hey, I would just like to check it out myself. Then you have people that are a little more conversational where they want to be with somebody to guide them through the property, to have a look around, things like that, so that they can ask questions on the spot. Again, too, I feel in that hybrid method that we're utilizing, it does give people the option of like, I'd prefer to meet with an agent so that we can ask questions, kind of get that stuff dialed. Whereas there are some other people that are like, hey, I'm a little more crunch for time. Do you mind if I just go through there? We'll go ahead and correspond back and forth, either telephone, email, however they like to communicate so that they can inquire about, any further questions that they may have. I guess it's just solely dependent upon the individual, obviously.
So you're seeing it more as almost a personality thing versus generational with technology.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think I'm on the opposite side of you guys. Like you guys like the interaction. Like I'll take the self-guided tour, go check it out myself. That's fine. I don't need anybody trying to sell me anything or hit me with their moving specials. Like I just need to see what it looks like. So I'm kind of on the other side. But I am also very much in agreement with T. I don't think, for me, okay, when we look at really good, property management, I think there's different departments, and one of the major ones is sales, right? Like if we're not doing a good job at leasing, then it's good possibility the project is not going to do well. So it's such an important part of what we're doing. For me, at least, I feel like the in-person showings, having people that, care about the process, that are there to answer questions, is just such an important thing. I will prefer that over self-guided tours every day right now. That's just kind of the way I am. That being said, I think that it's also important to have self-guided tours that you can use, for example, when we're closed. If we're closed at, on Saturdays or Sundays at a certain project, or if we're closed after 5 o'clock, I did see a number when I was looking through that 25% of self-guided tours happen outside of business hours. So if we're closing the doors and we're going home and prefer to do, the in-person showings, there's no reason why we can't go ahead and have that available while we're not in the office. So that way we're getting the best of both worlds. We're doing as much as we can in-person showing, but then we're also not losing opportunities for those people that they're really busy and have to come stop by after work. We do have it available when needed, but at the same time, I think we're always going to default to let us, come show you around if that fits what you're looking for, right? If you do prefer to do the self-guided tour, that's available to you, not a problem, but that's the way I kind of like to use it. It's not my favorite, but I think it needs to be there.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's funny how we look at these things from our different lenses of how we think it needs to be benefiting our company, right? Whether it's a time thing, whether it's the actual closing the deal, whether it's how safe is this technology and how reliable is it? I mean, we all look at it from a really, really different lens. So I love hearing the perspective that you guys have. And again, there's so many different products out there now. So doing your due diligence and shopping around and figuring out what works best for your particular community, obviously, is always key. I don't know. Any other thoughts on that, guys?
I mean, the only other thing I'll say is, just like anything, I said it a little bit before, but like, it just really depends if it makes sense. Like, even though I say we should always have it just as an option, it's just like anything. Look at your community, look at your target audience, look who you're selling to. Does it make sense? Not every demographic is comfortable submitting their IDs with their cell phones, and, taking a selfie is part of the verification process. You really need to look at your community specifically and see how this technology could fit in. It's not going to work for every community or every location. It just really depends. And once you make a decision on whether you think it is or not a good fit, of course, test it, right? Measure and see how it's performing. The one good thing that I like about it a lot is you get more data, I guess, in the beginning, because a lot of times these people have to fill out a form. They're going through a little bit of a process as far as sending you some information. So while you might get that when you go out there to meet them, it does give you a lot of data points, at least in the beginning, as these things are rolling in. And for me, data is always a good thing, right? Because I'm always looking at it and saying, who's setting up showing appointments? What age range are they in? What about this person is interested in the community that we're offering? Because then that'll help us be able to go out there and find more of those people and attract more of those people to see the community.
Hey.
Yeah.
That was it. We were just like, done technology. We're done.
Yep.
We're done.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, then we are done for today. So thank you so much. And we will catch you all next time.